everybody. Come on in. It's the Shawn Yankey Show. We're going to get started in just a minute. If I can get this camera right. Come on in. Good to see you. It is, what day is it? I lose track during quarantine. I never really know what day it is. My job doesn't matter what day it is. Tuesday, I believe. It's Tuesday all day. Come on in. This is the Shawn Yankey Show. We gather every day at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And we just hang out and have a good conversation. So come on in, like and share. And we're going to hang out and talk like normal. We make sure we're up and live everywhere. And we'll get going. I've got some stuff planned that I want to get into with you guys tonight. Looks like we're good on YouTube. And Facebook is up. Hey, Kathy, good to see you made it. Carol, Jack, Heath, Joan, good to see you guys. Kyle says you can't go from a daily inspirational show for Bernie to I'm done with Bernie, especially without knowing all the facts. Just don't go full anti-Bernie, please. My 2 cents. I'm not anti-Bernie. If that's what's coming across, then let me clarify, because I'm not. I'm not anti-Bernie. But I feel like Bernie went a different direction. And we have to continue on our path. So I don't agree with what Bernie's done, but I think that there's immense value in what Bernie did for us and what he's taught us to do for ourselves. And if we do that, we can still accomplish these things we were wanting to accomplish. I will not follow him to back the establishment candidate, but I'm not going to bash or hate on him. What he's done is very great for the people. He's empowered us and brought us together. The things that he's done over his career, there's many reasons to respect and admire Bernie Sanders. Hey, Kilo, how are you doing? But Joan says, I've had a hard time reading it, but I love your disclaimer at the beginning. Oh, thank you. I thought that was kind of cute. You know, it's supposed to be cute. Someone told me once I needed a disclaimer on YouTube, and they're not wrong. I never really take the time to follow all the rules, but you are supposed to have certain kind of disclaimers if you have content. But that one's kind of silly. You don't have to have a disclaimer that you tell the truth, but you should. Kyle says we're still going to win. It's just going to take longer than expected. I'm not playing 4D underwater chess with him anymore, Kyle. I mean, you can. I'm with you, but he's backing the establishment candidate. I can't support that. Kilo says still breathing, man. All good. Hey, you're on the right side of the dirt. Jack says I don't think Joe's going to make it till July. I don't either. But I don't think they're going to hand the nomination to Bernie Sanders either. You know what I mean? I think Bernie backing Joe Biden is the end of Bernie in this revolution. And I'm not going to spend the whole feed on that. I do want to get into how we are in a fight. This is a war. We are in a war. And it is time that all of us embrace that fact. We need to realize that we are in a war. And this war that, again, we are all involved in, whether you acknowledge it or not, rages on no matter what. And the willful ignorance of the masses to this war is what's allowing it to be so successful in the first place. But it's all by design. And we're going to get into that a little more as this discussion goes on. But this is really what I wanted to focus on tonight. We are in a class war. I can't agree with Bernie backing everything we are fighting against. And that is what endorsing Joe Biden is. He's doing it for whatever reason he is doing it for. I respect Bernie Sanders. I'm not going to bash on him, but we are in a war. We have to own that, and we have to own that this is our responsibility. I think that's what he's been teaching us all this time. That is the message behind what he's been trying to tell us. And we must end the willful ignorance. We're not going to get everybody, we're not going to get everybody to wake up. But this war is real, and we know that. But knowing that it's real isn't enough. We've got to act. We've got to inform people of the truth. Raise awareness. Get people to realize that they are under attack. Because everybody needs to understand that fact, that we are in a war. And I'm sorry, but it is our responsibility to inform the regular people of this war. And some will refuse to see it. And as a result, they never will. But most are just blinded to it by design. And they don't even realize an agenda is in place to attack them. So they don't even know they're being attacked. They've been dumbed down by the public education system. So we don't have an education system in this country. We have an indoctrination system. They train people to be good workers, not free thinkers. They don't encourage that kind of thing. They teach you to remember and regurgitate information, be a good test taker, a good task accomplisher, for lack of a better term, a good worker bee. That's what they train you to do. And then you're further indoctrinated by the corporate-owned mass media. Our mass media is a weapon. It is weaponized propaganda, and that is a fact. We can do an entire feed on evidence, declassified documents, admissions, all kinds of evidence proving that the media is a weapon. But it is. So let's move on to the next thing. They've been socially engineered by Hollywood, movies, pop culture, music, and television. Now, they use all media to control the people, and that includes the entertainment media. They use all the tools at their disposal. So we've been drugged and brainwashed and robbed by the healthcare industry and big pharma. And they've been also tricked into thinking that the U.S. is a democracy, not even knowing that it's a corporate oligarchy. So there's a lot of ways that people are under attack and they don't even realize it. So we have to help inform them. That is our only mode of self-defense at this point, to raise awareness and spread the truth. That's how we fight back, I really believe. That's what we do. We keep doing the same thing. So, again, I have to fall back into this position that nothing changed for us with what Bernie did. We keep moving forward in the same way, pushing for the same things, pressing for the same agenda. And matter of fact, we have more freedom now because we can go to direct action. We can plan things like general strikes and boycotts and really fight this power that lords over us in a more effective way as a people. But we are under attack, and these people want to destroy our way of life and even destroy us. Because these predators that lord over us have planned our demise out long ago. And the truth of their final plan for us all is out there in plain sight. Tonight I'm going to go into one of those plans that has been exposed in a leaked top secret document called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. We're going to look at that document, which I encourage you to look up. I really do. Anything that I ever would bring up and go into on any feed, I would always encourage you to look at for yourself. But Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is a document that was discovered in all places on a copier that was discarded. It was on the memory of this copier, but it's a top secret document that goes into detail on how they have had an agenda planned to attack the American people. And we are in a war. I'm not being cute when I say that. And it's time to get very real about that fact that dangerous people with a whole lot of power and resources seek to wipe us all out. And I'll let you hear it in their own words from this document. And I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but we are going to go through highlights of this document. Oh, I'll catch up with the comments here in a second. If you saw how distracted I looked, it was because I could see that you guys are talking, and I'm tempted to get pulled in, but I want to finish what I'm trying to do here. This is from the document, and this goes into explaining what the agenda of this is. But they see energy as the key to all activity on the earth. Natural science is the study of sources and the control of natural energy and social science, and theoretically expressed as economics. So really, when they talk about energy, they're speaking about money and finances. So the study of sources and control of social energy, both are bookkeeping, systems, mathematics. Therefore, mathematics is the primary energy science. And the bookkeeper can be king if the public can be kept ignorant of the mythology of the bookkeeping. Because it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with the ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, the wealth of the undisciplined and irresponsible, many, the people, into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create secure and apply new weapons, which, as it turns out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. Now, what is a silent weapon? In their own description right here from the document, says that it shoots situations instead of bullets, propelled by data processing instead of chemical reaction, originating from bits of data instead of grains of gunpowder, from a computer instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, causes no obvious physical or mental injuries, and does not obviously interfere with anyone's daily social life. Yet it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with the daily social life. Unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. But the public, the average people, cannot begin to comprehend this weapon, and therefore cannot believe that they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon at all. They might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but that's because of the technical nature of the silent weapon. But they cannot express their feeling in any rational way, or handle the problem with intelligence. Therefore, they don't know how to cry out for help, and they do not know how to associate with others to defend themselves against it. See, that's exactly what they need to make sure we don't know how to do. Because the only way to fight back against this agenda that is set against us is to come together and unite. Jones says they are now saying a lot of things might not fully open for 18 months. If that ends up being schools, a lot of people might decide that they like to homeschool. That could really change the future if kids learn to think for themselves. Homeschooling would be very good, and that is something that they would discourage. That might be one of the reasons for this rush back to normalcy, the push back to work. But I don't think things are going to get back to normal for a long time. We're actually going to get into more of what I think coming up, and more of this document, which I again encourage you to look up for yourself. Hey David, David's here from Tacoma. Marie says Bill Gates and Google creators that step down sound like they would get hired for this. A lot of these CEOs an elite that stepped down. That was orchestrated as well. You know, there was a lot going on behind the curtain while we were all distracted with this Stop Bernie agenda and this coup going on by the Democratic establishment. There was a lot going on behind the curtain. There always is. Anytime there's something going on, they got 3 or 4 things happening behind the scenes. They've planned this all out for hundreds of years, really. It's a plan that's been in motion throughout time. The same bloodlines and power structures have been in power for a long time. They just moved around. You know, Rome never fell is something I used to say a lot. It just scattered. You know, and they just got a lot more creative with how they held power over the world. Ginger says, wait, that's Joan. I don't know how many they had in total. They're talking about something. I get confused sometimes when it's a reply because I can't tell the difference. I need to get better at figuring that out. Kilo says, it's worded awfully weird for a military document. It's not exactly a military document. It is a top secret document from an Operations Research Technical Manual. I can link you the PDF. I don't know if this will link or this copy will paste to YouTube, but this way you can read it and look at it for yourself. This is it's not a declassified. It was a found top secret document that was leaked way before WikiLeaks, long time ago, and spread out. So you kind of have to decide for yourself if this stuff's actually going on or if this is just a well-constructed hoax and it's not really a top secret document. But I feel like it's real, and I feel like a lot of what they talk about in this is being used against us right now. Like, it's very detailed. I should have went with the screen capture set so I could show it to you. But it's only about 47 pages long, and there's a lot of complicated stuff in it because it gets into using computers and algorithms to figure out the best ways to shock people and play with us basically like guinea pigs, and even goes into how to shock test the economy, what the benefits and ups and downs of that might be, and then how to distract and divert us. And every bit of it is in play. So this could be an elaborate hoax. I see your point, Kilo, but I think they put a lot of truth out in plain sight for everybody to see because it's part of what they believe. It's part of their belief system and what they stand for. And part of what they believe gives them power. There's a certain way they go about it. They lay this stuff out for us to find. And then when we don't act on it, and we don't defend ourselves, and we don't use that knowledge that's been sprinkled about, we've consented in their rationale. But Joan says they do have public cyber school. Yeah, right now, my son is getting his homework delivered into a tote outside on the porch. They deliver a packet of homework. He does the homework, and then they pick it back up out of the tote. It's really weird. Yeah, Steve. Bernie's been working with the Biden campaign for weeks. They have coalitions and task force together. This has been going on for a while. Steve says you sent me a video by Anomaly. I need to give Anomaly a second look. I haven't watched any of his stuff in a while. Yeah, 79 is this document. I just think it's a fascinating document and something that is interesting to look at. And you look at it and tell me if it's not played out exactly as it's written. And then compare that to different things like Agenda 2030 and the depopulation agenda. And maybe I'm crazy, but I believe it's all lining up together. And something that I want to get into in a little bit is this state of emergency and how much authority and power has now been given to FEMA. We need to be concerned about that. I think people need to realize that FEMA is the most powerful organization in the United States. And in a state of emergency, they're more powerful than the president or the Congress. And they have the power to suspend laws, move entire populations. They have the power to arrest and detain citizens without a warrant, hold them without trial. They can seize property, food supplies, transportation systems, and they have the power to suspend the Constitution. There's a bunch of executive orders that have empowered FEMA in this way, which that's how they started, is by executive order. That they're not, well, there's a lot to get into, but Executive Order 11921, in the state of emergency, if a state of emergency is declared, allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credit, and the flow of money in the U.S. financial institutions in any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. So they have a minimum of 6 months of complete power. And there's a lot more executive orders that we need to cover. The power and the reach of FEMA is pretty amazing. And they've made a few grabs at this power over the years, and they've never gotten it until now, as far as I know, as far as I've been able to research. I've just been getting sent a lot of stuff about FEMA, and this is just, it's frightening times, and I'm worried a lot about, Lisa says Trump is defunding the World Health Organization. I'll have to look at that. See if you can link me or tag me in a post, like in the comment section or something. I want to check that out. Joan says you never hear anyone blaming the Republican Senate for any of this mess, but they could have changed this whole situation if they put Trump out of office when they had the chance. You don't hear anything about that before the elections. I just always assume that everybody understands the Republicans are against us. Maybe that's irresponsible. It is the entire establishment, and they are, in my opinion, part of that power establishment. They are, but I just always make the mistake of assuming everybody understands that they're bad, because they're out in the open about it. They fight against everything that we stand for. But the Democrats, they'll pretend to fight for what we want and what we care about, and they'll smile to our face and stab us in the back. And that's why I think they're a lot more dangerous, and I tend to focus on them more, because they're wolves in sheep's clothing. Jack asked if anybody got their money yet. Anybody get your stimulus check yet? I'm not getting one, so I'm not excited, but I know a lot of people are excited and looking for that stimulus check. I mean, it's the least they could do after ripping us all off. That was a heist pulled off on the American people, that stimulus. They robbed us blind is what they did. Kathy says, don't worry, prepare. You don't need the stress of worry, which is pointless anyway. Yeah, my grandpa had a really cool sign outside on his porch about how worry is like being in a rocking chair It'll keep you busy, but it won't get you anywhere. So, David says we can't lose the United States Postal Service. You know, not that I don't understand Trump's point about election and voter fraud, but they should allow voting by mail. That alone would save the United States Postal Service. But I don't think anything's going to happen to the United States Postal Service. I know that they're talking about it, but I think that that's something that's, if my memory's not failing me, that's been talked about before. I really just don't. I think they're one of those permanent break the duopoly. Exactly. There you go. This is exactly what we are going to be about moving forward, is fighting the power that is lording over society, that is holding us all down. And Carol's right. I really believe paper ballot system is the only way to go. And I'm trying to get Tim Canova to come on. He did agree. We haven't lined anything up yet, but I'm excited to announce he did agree to come on the show. So, Jack, you were right. If I would just take the initiative to reach out to these people, they would do it. So that's cool. And in the future, we will line that up. And I want to bring attention to things like that because we need to demand paper ballots. It's really the only way to go. If you want, we can't have a fair election the way things are right now, with these rigged voting machines and our manipulated media and just the way everything is. There's just no way to fight back in the voting booth. Marie says, Dr. Shiva says the state of fear, stress, and depression caused by the social distancing makes us all more prone to disease. I happen to agree. We are social creatures, so I can see that. Joan says, for all the complaining they were doing about not having enough money for Social Security and Medicare for the elderly, they found plenty of money for the elites and big business. Oh yeah, real quick, and they keep finding it. I shared an article from PBS News the other day, like a week ago, that went into detail about how they're loaning I'm wanting to say $1 trillion. I don't think that's correct, though. It can't be. To big banks every day. Loaning. Printing money. Hell, if it was $1 billion, it's too much. But I really want to say it was $1 trillion. Kathy said the U.S. Postal Service itself said with the current budget it would be done by September. I think a lot of things are going to be done by September. I think we're in a lot of trouble. I try not to focus on it all the time because I don't want to be a fear monger. I don't want to sit and cause panic. But I think that capitalism is in survival mode and the people will be the ones that suffer. So at the bare minimum, we're in for some bad times. David says Trump is a union buster like Reagan, on the verge of losing. Virginia's on the verge of losing their union. VA. Sorry. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. Marie said, I tried buying stamps online as part of an initiative to help the United States Postal Service gain a lump sum in a short period, but the site wasn't working. If half the population bought 1 to 2 books of stamps, it would help them stay afloat. Joan says they turned up buckets of mail-in ballots in Wisconsin after it was too late to count them. Yeah, exactly. So when Trump talks about the potential for fraud in a mail-in ballot system, he's not lying. He's telling the truth. There is massive potential for fraud in that situation. But it would save the United States Postal Service, and it's just as good as what we have now. We need to go to a completely different system. We need to go to a paper ballot system, like Carol was saying. And I'm hoping to have Tim on in the near future to explain that, because he's been fighting for that. He says Biden is a union buster also. Biden is just as bad as Trump. I won't be gaslit to be afraid of Donald Trump. I'm not going to let that happen. But I apologize, but I am going to have to end early tonight. And I just got a message from my Babels on Messenger. There is something that came up that I have to bail on the feed in short notice. I was trying to figure out a way to gingerly get out and wrap it up, but we didn't get to put a bow on any of this. I wanted to get deeper into that the FEMA powers that they have right now. I was trying to make a video on it today, but there is so much to go into. It's amazing how much power that organization was given through executive orders. And we need to expose that kind of stuff and go into what's actually in power over us right now. But I think we're in for some bad times moving forward. I think things are about to get really, really rough for the American people. I don't think the elites are in any danger. I think they've already planned out what they're going to do. And it's going to be us that suffers. So we need to stay united and inform people and make them aware that we're in a fight. And I think that's the most important thing we do, is spread truth and awareness. So thanks for watching this little show. We're still figuring ourselves out. I will see you tomorrow at 7, 8 Eastern. 7 Central, 8 Eastern for the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.